If you happened to catch a second ago, I was on live, and then I didn't have my microphones on. A day in the life. So I am a small business, as you know. If you subscribe to me, you hear me say this all the time, and so please share with your friends if you can. Make sure that you subscribe. Well, if you're watching, you're subscribed, but if you share to your friends and they subscribe, I just need I don't know, maybe, was it 40 more followers, and these lives can go into YouTube universe. Otherwise, right now, it's only to my subscribers. And we are a Dixie Belle retailer here on Cape Cod. So we have the Dixie Belle paints and ancillaries, bells and whistles products, and silk mineral paints. Now, we do have an online at seaporium.square.site, but you won't see all the inventory available. If you see anything on the Dixie Belle site that I don't have there, I can always order it in my next order. You just do a prepay, and it ships out to you the minute it comes in. If you see anything on our online site that doesn't have inventory but is listed, it means it's probably at the booth, and I can grab it, and when I have it in my hands, send you an invoice to pay for it, to provided email, and ship it out to you as soon as I have it in my hands. So that's how that works for now. Granted, if we can grow on our online business, I can have a whole different online inventory and really boost that up. So help a girl out and share, comment, like, and all that. All right. So as you see in the description, we were working on this piece before, and I have an upside down stamp, and I came up with a neat little solution that came into my head. So we're going to play with that today, but I also wanted to show off my painted jeans. These were done in the chalk mineral paints by Dixie Belle, evergreen and fluff with a little bit of collard greens. This is just peony and fluff, using the denim as our shadows, and then there's daisy and fluff. So this was from a stamp that had been there, but it was so long ago, it was so faded. I think I was using a bleaching technique. It didn't really work well. But I had enough to go by. I ended up not even really using the stamp. I just hand painted this after. But we have a couple little it must have been on my cuff or my palm of my hand or something when I was sitting down to paint. So we're going to have to add a little details, and then these will be done. But I also added from a stencil, using the same colors, a little butterfly, a bee, and down on the cuff of the other pant leg is a dragonfly. So you can see, like, these makes a nice statement with just a nice pair of just a nice t-shirt. It's a size 14 if anyone's interested, and it was not your daughter's jeans. So they're a little stretchy and they're like mid-waist. They're not super high, okay? And I'll probably bring these and some other fabric things when we do Vintage Market Days at Picket Fence. We have a booth there, so make sure you check it out if you're anywhere near the Cape for May 4th. There's going to be some other dates through the summer and the fall as well. And then if you so inclined, follow us on the other social medias, because we were working on some beautiful things earlier today. These shells. All right, we did this one live. Well, the decoupage, the blue part, was done ahead of time, but we added the transfers and the water slides. All right, and we just gave this a top coat. And we added the gold. All right, so we got all kinds of things going on here. One more. All right. They also have, as you could tell from our other videos, is that pearly back. All it is a wash with the clear coat in satin, and then some the mica, the Pearl-X mica, macro pearl mica powders. All right, so, but then before that dried, I did sprinkle some glitter in, but I thought I would try and seal it in more and put a little coat of satin on top, but we lost some of the glitteriness of the diamond glitter. So I might just kind of put another little top coat and dust in a little more glitter, at least on the edges. Because if this is setting down, we really don't need the glitter down below, but it's nice if you can just see, a little jazzing up here. You can also turn these into nice ornaments. If you get like a Dremel I like to use with a real fine point, and just very, very, very patiently, it takes several minutes, and just, you know, up at the top, just sit there with it and just like drill a hole into it nice and carefully. So that was what we did. And then I was working on something that I got inspired on by background jewelry on Instagram. So I painted the bottom of the shell, and these were all prepped, you know, these are off the beach, bleached, scrubbed, boiled with salt water, and then a little bit of vinegar at the end. And when they're dry, excuse me, I did paint the inside. They didn't need to be sanded, because after all that work and stuff, they were pretty dull. Just made sure they were nice and clean before I put on my slick stick. And if you're a new Dixie Belle user, or if you're out of your old products, it's now bonding boss. So bonding boss will stick to the slick stuff or things that weren't meant for paint, hence a shell. But it also blocks the tannins and all that. So that's something that we have available online. I don't need to go to the booth to get that. And you know what? My battery just dropped considerably. So give me one hot second, and I am going to make sure we don't lose our microphone. And I'm going to kill this right now real quick. Hold on. So like I said, this is a process that we're working on. I use this Envirotex pour-on resin. I'm not happy with it because it's very yellow, and thankfully I'm using this dark background, so it's not really showing, but I won't be using this for future projects. So since this is the first time I'm doing this, like I said, it's background jewelry on Instagram that I got inspired for. If you want to see the video, she did it in or he or she did it in a wooden bowl with 2 fish, and it's amazing. So I started, I did a pour, so we have a little depth. And then, I don't know, I'm new to the resin art, so I see when you're supposed to add another layer that they either like wipe it down with like a 99% alcohol, or they sand it and wipe it down really well, and then they do another layer of the pour. So I tried that. I'm going to have to get a finer sandpaper, though, I think. I got a feeling some of my sand marks might show. But again, this is the first time me doing this. So what you see is the bottom parts of the fish. So the head will be here. This will be like the little fins that are underneath on the sides. And then the next layer will start building the body and maybe the tail. Okay, and give it some depth. But we're going to do a pour of the resin after this. After a day or two, we'll be able to do the next layer of paint. And it's going to hopefully be like this 3D, it'll be like a soap dish, or still could be a catch-all after all right? So that's something we talked about on the other social medias. That was done earlier on Instagram and Facebook. But for today's project, I want to get going on this, and then I have this ball jar that I thought I want to do a couple things. I still have some water slide left over, and I think I want to add it to this if we have time. And then if time allows and we get to that, I want to maybe add the mold. I wasn't going to do this. I was thinking maybe like a crockery stamp, but I got these molds that I haven't done anything with yet, and I'm thinking maybe the dog on one side and the cat on the other. So if it's a cat person, they turn the cat part up, and then if it's the dog person, they can put the dog side out, and maybe it can be like a little treat jar or something like that. And then we can do my little paw prints on the lid with using the laurel hearts. So hopefully we can get to some of that as well. All right, let's move on. Let's move the camera down. I don't have my setup where I have all the different camera angles, so bear with me. All right. So we don't really need this right now. We just need, I did buy some fusible interfacing. It's a little remnants of that. If we need to, we will put it on the back of our cutout and get the iron and fuse that. I do want to heat up. I have an iron, a regular iron somewhere for crafting purposes, but I also have this small one that I got on Amazon, Hanger 9. It does the job, and I always keep my parchment because I hate to waste. So we're going to get this heated up on the side. All right, because I have an idea, and I'm not sure this is going to work, but we're going to try it anyways. And thank you, whoever's watching. I appreciate that. So if you're familiar with the transfers, there's a lot of things you can do with them, but they are not the most versatile product. It's not something that you normally can put through the wash. That said, oh, and be on the lookout, you guys. I'm going to be putting together a regular old-fashioned uploading video. Hopefully I'm going to get to that tonight, about how I do Cricut. I want to make a sign out of this board. I don't want to use the IOD stamps. I want something a little bit fancier, and I want it to fit just right. So I'm going to show how I pull it up if you have Illustrator or some other program, how to save it, and then you can put it into your Cricut design space, in that way you have your own custom font lettering. You can make it a stencil, and you can make, I'm probably going to do it out of vinyl just for speed's sake, okay? If I'm going to do more of them, I probably end up making a stencil out of that, but we'll see. So that'll be, hopefully I get that up by tomorrow night. That's the plan anyways. All right, so here's my fabric. What is it called? It's all cotton, I know that. And they put the thing right over it. It was all cotton. Oh, it says, okay, bleached muslin, 100% cotton. So I'm not sure exactly what duck fabric is, but I guess that would work. Any kind of plain fabric. Of course, the bigger the weave, the more that the transfer is going to have a tough time working with. But the first thing I want to do is I want to get an area cut out, or at least a rough area. So we have to decide what it is we're going to put there. So I have, let's see, these are what I have left from my entomology, etc. These are all pretty messed up. See, they kind of fold over and touched each other, so those are messed up. But if I needed it for color to fix something else, I have that small one. I can use a bird, but I'm not quite feeling the bird. I'm feeling like something with wings in this case. The dragonfly, but I don't see that I need it to where I can sew it down. I guess that could work, but it'd be really hard to trim everything around that tiny body. Not feeling the frogs. Let's see. And of course, I don't have a spare entomology, etc. here. We have this moth. I don't want to walk around with a moth on my back. But I have this butterfly and this butterfly. Another big moth. What else do we have? And that butterfly. So those are some options. Let's see. Oops. Let's not get those dirty, okay? Because once you get some sort of dust on the back of these transfers, they're not going to want to stick. But I'm going to have a solution for that. So hold on. Let's just make sure that those were the perfect ones to use. I also have some other options here. These are all from Iron Orchid Designs. Dixie Belle does have a bunch of transfers as well, but I don't have a stock of them like I do with these. I was an Iron Orchid Design content creator for quite a few years. Hello, thank you whoever's watching, I appreciate it. This is Milo's Pages. And of course that isn't anything like butterflies, but we do have that. All right, I'm not feeling the bugs, you guys. I'm not a fan of the latest molds that were like straight out beetles, but that's just me. Let me know how you feel about that. I'm not a bug person. All right. So these, oh, there we go. There's some butterflies. So on my black and white flannel, this is really quite stunning. But I'm wondering if I should just keep it to those more subtle colors. But you know what? If I did that and it works out, I could try it non-3D on a pocket, maybe with this, or on the front or something. So actually, for the purpose of what I'm working with now, just because I've never done this before, this is just an idea that's popped into my head. Let's do this bigger butterfly on the bottom. on the back. We gotta do something with this fish for my booth. All right, so, and again, like I said, you guys help me out. Share. I need about 40 more viewers before my lives on YouTube are public. For right now, it's only you subscribers. Lucky you. Okay. And I thought we might have found maybe something I could have used, maybe one of the critters. There's birds, on what is this again? Whispering Willow. And I know I had something left on Brocante because it does have different, I think it's only a bee that I have left. And even though there is a bee, well, okay, let's give this a shot. I said it, so let me, now it's in my head, I got to give this a shot. Hold on, you guys, I did it to myself. Let me see what this bee looks like. We could still use the butterfly on something in this project. Yes, it's the bee. I don't know, that might actually be cute. All right, so. Let me get those out of the way for now. All right, so let's get our shirt out. And because I have this bee, maybe I should do the bee here. What do you think? The bee, or save the bee for the front maybe? Or put the butterfly. Butterfly. You know why? Because I'm not going to worry about the antennae so much. I can always do something else with that, but I can get these wings. I'm going to show you why this is, I'm going to keep this out though, because I might use that in the front, tie the bead from the front to the back. We're going to have to put this onto fabric, right? And then I'm going to have to cut it out, so I'm not going to try and get around those antennae. So let's just do a cut, and this isn't my fabric scissors. I didn't go grab those, so hold on. Yeah, these are pretty rough scissors. They have been used for crafts for many years now. Okay. Now, let's coat that with Mod Podge. It's a special Mod Podge. It's for fabric. All right, I know it's backwards, but Mod Podge for fabric. And then we're going to get our little, I got to clean this out again, but let's just use it. I'm using the other side. This is what I was using for my glitter but I turned it over, so let's get the Mod Podge first. And here, I'm going to explain this, honest. I just grabbed this, and I just grabbed the fabric, because this is an idea that I've been excited to try ever since it popped into my head. Throw that out. Throw that out. Get kind of a stiff brush, dampen it a little bit, and let's get this spread out. Well, we got some dirt on this brush, but that's okay. It's a dirty brush. I'm getting lint all over the place. I guess it could be from the acetate, but make sure we get, because we don't know exactly how we're going to place this on here when it goes on, since just make sure we just get all the possible area. And you know what, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of slather it on a little bit, because instead of doing like another coat and make you sit through all that, let's just make sure there's a good amount of it on here. And then we're going to dry it. Now, I shouldn't have had that Mod Podge, you know, pulling the paint right in the paintbrush right in there, because now that dust could be into my Mod Podge. Shame on me. I'm just so excited to do this, you guys. I'm so excited. All right, so sticky hands. Let me dry this. And this kind of follows with the idea of, those were good batteries, so guess not. So all I did is I used this fabric Mod Podge. I'm not sure where the sound went out. And I'm putting it on pretty thick. And I want it to dry well. And this is, like I was just saying, until I realized that my battery was blinking at me on my microphone, that this is an idea that I got from what happens when transfers bubble a little bit. Okay? We want this nice and dry. I'm hoping to get to this ball jar, because now I'm excited for that. I love when these ideas come into my head and I can't stop myself. And I know I got to get to my booth because she wants me to rearrange something, and I got to figure out my little video there. But hey, if whoever's watching, if you're nearby, you're on the Cape, Picket Fence is going to have their Vintage Market Days, Vintage Market shopping event. The first one of the year is going to be May 4th. And they do have rain dates, but hopefully it doesn't rain. We're going to set up a tent. We're going to bring some of the furniture that we have, because my booth, if you've been there, it's so tiny that you know, I only have room for my paints, the Dixie Belle paints, the bells and whistles products. I apologize. They are a hot mess. They're kind of really just piled on top of one another. Okay. Okay. Still a little sticky here, but that might not be the end of the world for us, because I'm going to iron this on to here after. I know I didn't want to put a second coat, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyways. And make sure you get the whole area where that transfer might go. Okay. And I have the selvage here, but I don't think that that's going to be a big deal for what we're doing. Okay. Now we'll put the brush in water and try it again. I'm so excited for this. I was so excited to finally get to the fabric store. And it was one of those things where, you know, like you go there and it's like, oh, that's on sale. Oh, no, that's on sale too. I'll have that, I'll have that, I'll have that. And then before I got to the register, I put that back, I put that back, and I put that back. You know, we've all been there. We've all done it. Okay. We'll probably use the interfacing on this. It's not going to be thick enough with just the Mod Podge. Okay. It's a little tacky, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. Okay, so now put it right on the Mod Podge part. And with our transfer tool, it should certainly grab the image. I'm not going to get a bubble though because everything's sticking to the sheet. So let's just give it a good rub and we'll start peeling it back. Perhaps if this got nice and dry and I wasn't rushing things, it wouldn't be sticking the way it is, but hey. But if you're working with any of the transfers, this is one of the ways, you know, obviously we try to get like a little bubble to help it let go of the back. And if you're lifting it and not all of it's come off, just set it right back down. And as long as the transfer hasn't moved, you won't see a little seam. Okay, and just peel it like right against itself. There's a little edge there, didn't go down. Okay, and as long as you have nothing left on your back, just keep peeling it off. This is working out really nice. Considering this isn't like a nice glassy surface like I always say those transfers love. They love that glossy surface. So for the antlers, the antennae, whatever, the antlers, the antennae there, we're going to, I might just try and make like with just some thread or something. I was thinking maybe I do almost like a technique from the days of silk ribbon embroidery. And maybe twist a ribbon and kind of wrap a thread around it to make it like a tube. Almost done. And I'll bet you we'll be able to do the fusible interfacing at the same time. Now the other antenna came off, but that's okay. I'm not going to bother trying to match it up. But if I wanted to, just so you know, I could match up the lines and put that down, okay? It's not a problem as long as it doesn't get dirty or wrapped up into something else. So that is down. Oh boy, there must be a dog on TV or some animal. That's Bodie. And he's up on his hind legs barking at the TV right now. And there's Joe yelling at him. This is a daily battle for us. All right, so that's nicely burnished. All right, and it's, look at that. So before I seal this up, I'll put the Mod Podge over it, but I want to, this is where I want to start heating up. I want to get rid of this acetate so we don't burn it. That glitter. Okay. Hopefully this is hot enough. And notice I'm using parchment paper. And I'm just going to keep, this is what I do if you get a transfer. I don't care whose transfer it is, right? If you get a transfer that is bubbling because maybe humidity changes or something happens, right? This is the fix that I do for it. Now this time we got a couple spots that kind of rubbed off. Oh, look at that. It glued right to my table. Interesting. That decoupage medium went to this, and now we got a little crack. But I'm not gonna fluster over that. This should work out. In theory, this works out, guys. All right. So now let's get maybe some, because I feel like this could be a little stiffer. Watch me go overboard with this. I have no idea, like the density of this or whatever. It was a remnant, so I just grabbed it. It's fusible, right? I grabbed the fusible one, I hope. Fusible, yes, featherweight. That's good. Following the grain line, cover with a damp press cloth, set iron on medium, press firmly for 10 full seconds. Okay, does it matter what side? I don't see a side. I'm assuming this side. It looks like it's got the little dots. So let's just cut a piece of this. Hopefully it's big enough. Just big enough. We'll make it work. All right. So oh, nope, nope, nope. Yep, it's fusing. All right. But I should get some more parchment paper. Hold on. I had some down here. The question is, what did I do with it? I can't find what I did with it. Okay, let's not be boring. Oh, I know. Fold it over. The test will be what happens in the wash. And I think what I'll do is I will just kind of like do a couple base stitches to hold it in place and put it through the wash with the shirt just to see what happens. And I'll keep you all in touch with that. But I guess if you weren't planning on washing, this is still something you could do. But that shirt was something that I had that I bleached it back when, you know, the bleaching thing was a thing to do. It appears to be on there, and that's a little bit stiffer. Okay. And you know what? I'm going to just give me 1 second. I want to go grab scissors, better scissors. Okay. Let's see. Little thread cutters, this should work. And then, you know, fussy cut around the edge. I didn't even read the directions for the Mod Podge. And thank you to my friend in Garden City, Michigan, Charlotte, made a point. It's Mod Podge, not Mod Podge. How many people say Mod Podge? And see, this is why I'm not worrying about those antennae. And that's why I didn't want to do the little skinny dragonfly body, and why I didn't want to do the bees with the skinny legs. If I was just doing that on the fabric itself, you know, put the Mod Podge, like this could have been the shirt itself, which is what I'm going to try on the front side, okay? Just put some Mod Podge on the actual shirt. Oh, it is, it's cracking. Darn it. I think this might not work, guys. Let's see. I see some more cracks. Let's see. All great ideas, right? So if you put this through the wash, it probably won't hold up. The Mod Podge, I mean, I know people have done the decoupage on shirts, so that holds up. Of course, you have to follow their washing instructions, but okay. So the idea would be to take some stitches, maybe with black thread here and the orange thread here, and you tack that onto here, right? But before that can happen, we got to seal it up some more. iron out of the way. Let me know what you guys think. Would this be something you would try if this does hold up decently? The Mod Podge again. And I said again, Mod Podge. It's just a thing. I can't help it. Why is it we all say, not all of us obviously, but a lot of us say Mod Podge. When it's not Mod Podge. It's Mod Podge. All right. And I'm going to do this probably a couple coats. And hopefully this holds up, you guys. I'm hoping. Okay. Like I said, we can hopefully sew that on there with a couple little basting stitches. Give it a try. And then if it works, we can do it. I'd like to try it on, like we have the whole front I haven't even dealt with. So maybe we do more stamp. And that's just with inks and stamps, okay? Just our videos, you can go my other live where I was working on this. You know, we have this here. We could maybe put the bee. If that works, okay, we would just take like an area of Mod Podge on the pocket. And then, you know, you want to put like some plastic behind here or something. Put a little area of Mod Podge. And put the bee here perhaps. All right, we have the whole front to decorate yet. So let's just one step at a time with that. All right, let's see what time says for that. Okay, if time says nope, then that's it. We got to try something else. But hopefully it works. Hopefully it works. So another thing I have, this shouldn't take long, you guys. This has been well sealed. I mean, it's been prepped, okay? So what I do is, it's just glass. It's literally, it's glass. It's a ball jar. See, it's a ball jar. And normally, how would you paint glass? I mean, yeah, certain paint companies would say, oh, yeah, you can just paint over anything. I'm sorry, I have a problem with that. That's if you're probably doing like a rustic look or whatever. But if you want the paint to stick more dependably, they do make primers meant to stick to these really tough pieces. So I'm not sure about the Kills 123. The Faux Effects used to make Primetch, but they no longer do. And Dixie Belle, I do know, has it's called Bonding Boss now, but I still have Slick Stick left. And for the purpose, if you're using Bonding Boss, you want to treat it like Slick Stick. No matter what, you want to put it because the old days. Let me rewind a little bit. The old days, it was Slick Stick and Boss. S for sticking, B for blocking. So S sticking, the Slick Stick. You prep your surface best you can, clean it, tack it if you can, wipe it down again, and brush it on. Wait a couple hours for that to dry. You could put on a second coat, but then no matter what, you let it dry 24 hours. And then you can paint and embellish and all that. Then Boss was different. Boss didn't have all those requirements. Boss was a regular old primer. So you would use that to block the tannins, to block odors and things like that. So if you had wood that was bleeding, bare wood where the knots would bleed through, you use the Boss. Maybe a couple coats of that, depending on the piece you're working with. Excuse me, I was afraid of that. I've been having these little hiccupy, burpy things. Anywho, but now the Bonding Boss is both of those together. So you treat it like Slick Stick. You paint it, and you prep it, tack it if you can, wipe it down again. I always like to finish with an alcohol wipe, make sure there's no fingerprints left, finger oils or anything left on there. And then brush it on, wait a couple hours. You can brush on a second coat, which is what I did. And then you needed to let it dry for at least 24 hours, which it did, probably a few days. So then I base coated in a couple coats of fluff, the chalk mineral paint, okay? So the Dixie Belle's chalk mineral paint does seal. If you're using Terra paints or other clay paints or any kind of paint that requires you to seal it, otherwise it stays water reactive, then you need to seal it before you do this. Okay, this is the fun part. We're going to use these pieces of leftover napkin to kind of hold this. And I'm going to start, there's a little bit of brush of gold on here. Oh well. I'm going to start with, I have these two pieces, so, and the other one doesn't have the gold, so we're going to cut like so. We're going to fussy cut that. All right, and we're going to save these gold pieces for something else. Okay, so we're going to start on this side of the ball. See where I'm going with this? See? And then we're going to cut this. I'm having fun with these water slide transfers. These are so fun, so easy. And then we still have this to play with, okay? And I still have a whole nother sheet of that design left over, plus the big panels. So I have a lot of the water slide transfers to play with still, and it's only the one package. So I'm not going to try and cover up the ball jar because I kind of like the idea. Plus, we probably cover that with a mold. And so this is really going to be like in between the two molds, really. If a little bit of the mold goes over it, then it does. All right, so now that I know how we're going to place it, now remember, this isn't how it's going on. It's going to be with a reverse. So if there's a certain pattern, you got to remember that it's a reverse. But what's nice is it shows you the exact pattern on the back side, so you know exact placement. You don't have to worry about what's happening on the other side. Okay. Now we're going to take off the protective sheet. Well, make sure we have a really damp cloth. I'm just going to use my little spray mister. Give it a good soak. And take this protective sheet off. And place it down. And then, boom. It's like those tattoos when we were a kid that you would put on your arm and put the wet washcloth or paper towel on it. It's the same thing. The only thing is that you really got to watch. It gets really, water slide, it does slide. It gets really slippery. So you really want to make sure it holds it in place, okay, while we're doing this whole process here. Now, like I said, I was just going to do like a crockery stamp on this piece. But, you know, once an idea gets in my head, there ain't no stopping it. Let's see how we're doing. But again, like you can see now, like if this was clay paint, you'd have a tough time because everything's getting really, really wet here. Let's see. A this is down. Let's see if this is down. So we're just gonna, it's lifting up a little bit, but we're just really careful. You can maybe take a popsicle stick. And there we go. I want something real slick for here. Lift it up a little bit right there, okay? Just gonna wet my finger. Okay. And there's a couple wrinkles, but I'm telling you, they're really fine. It's a really fine film. Look how pretty that is. And you see the gold? Isn't that neat? Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm telling you. All right, now try to do it like on the total opposite side. Now a lot of this is going to get covered when we put the mold on there. Let's make sure this is nice and wet again. Drippy wet, actually, if you can. Unlike, you know, a lot of times we tell you, don't make it drippy wet. This can be really wet. Remember, if you're imagine a design, it's a mirror, because it's that, you're going to flip it. All right? And then just let it get really wet. This is going to be really cute. I'm going to take the, let's see if I can do this without messing anything up. Where's my laurel? The laurel mold by Iron Orchid Designs has these little hearts of various sizes. I'm going to use the super tiny one. Where is it? Up there in the corner. And hopefully we can fit a footprint out of that. All right, you know, upside down for the pad and right side up for the little pads, the little toe pads. Now if I had, you know, if you have the thingamajig tool, that would be handy to kind of rub it down. But you want to make sure it doesn't move. Because if it moves and it's not all down and some of it's down, it could crack and maybe fold over, and you probably won't have a nice continuous pattern to your piece. But like I said, we're going to be adding to this, so we could just add more, you know, or maybe find another piece from a remnant and add it over it. Because we don't worry about these things, right? Let's see. And they say 3 minutes, as long as it's nice and wet. I guess if it's a large piece that you're doing, that lifted a little bit, but it's off of the backing. Let's try it from this side. There. Actually, we can use this to kind of wipe it down with because it's very slick. Very, very slick. Look at that, you guys. That wasn't all the way dry, and it seemed like it was sticking, but it didn't pull off from the... That is so freaking cool. All right, so let's be maybe a little bit more. And let's do a quick mold, and we're going to be done. Like again, this is something I've done many times as I was a content creator for Iron Orchid Designs. I am going to use their clay. If it's something that's going to go outdoors, you could use more like a Form Flex because that is rated for outdoor use. Resin, I'm not sure. The quick set resin if you're going to do that. What did I do with the, here it is. So I haven't even opened this yet, you guys. I'm so excited. This one's called Invitation Only. And if you like these, they have the same kind of stamps in Antiquities. It's a stamp. All right. Actually, I'm going to save that cardstock because you never know when you need some thicker weight paper or cardstock. I don't like to waste anything. So for the molds, I'm going to get this out of the way for now because I don't want to get dust and dirt on there. We're going to be dusting the mold with some cornstarch. Baby powder some people use. They suggest arrowroot powder or cornstarch. Like I said, I'm going to do a dog on one side. There's a fox, a stag, kind of a bulldog, English bulldog, and a cat. So this will be for the cat lover or the dog lover, just no matter which side you have facing out. Or both, if you have both. All right, and I'm using, like I said, their air dry clay, paper clays, whatever clay, you know. If you're going to use any of the air dry clays or Form Flex, dust it with cornstarch. If you're using the resin, you don't dust the molds at all. Some people use hot glue. I haven't had a lot of luck with that. That's definitely something. I've done it like if I want like butterfly wings to stay floppy. But it's not something I suggest, but you know, you do you. They are food safe, oven safe to 425. And the nice thing is I'm going to use a little putty knife to pull this nice and flat. We sell these. All right. Seaporium.square.site now. It's no longer seaporium.com, at least for the time being. Depending on when if you're watching a replay, you might want to check seaporium.com because, you know, someday I'm hoping to grow this online business enough where I can have its own inventory and I can afford to have more subscriptions. Look how easy that was. Isn't that adorable? He's adorable. All right, and then we're going to glue them on while it's still wet. Some people don't, they're like, you're going to what? But it's all floppy and everything. But that's when, especially on that curved surface, you want that. And we can even paint it right away too. I find with fluff, it isn't always necessary, especially if you're going to glaze it, which I will with like driftwood or maybe even hurricane gray makes a nice rich. You can make it a glaze. You can get the Dixie Belle glaze. But on small projects, I just do a wash after it's sealed I just do a wash with the watered down paint and work in small areas. You know, these are small areas, so, and then, you know, brush it in and wipe it off the tops. I have a video in my shorts playlist. It's on the Booth playlist. It's on the Dixie Belle playlist. Adding interest playlist. Talking about glazing. Okay. But it's super easy, whether you're using a paint wash or the glaze. All right, so now we have all the excess. You just don't want it to have a rounded back, because this is the back side, because then you'll have a lump and maybe it doesn't all stick to your surface well. Whenever I'm working with the clay, I put it in a baggie that has a damp paper towel in it. All right, make sure the clay doesn't touch that, because it'll get really wet and gooey and slimy. And then put it in another bag for added measure, and we're done. How cool is that? Now we can glue it, and I like to use the Tight Bond Quick and Thick. Doesn't matter which side is the cat, which side is the dog, so let's just pick one. And I like to store my glues and stuff upside down, so I have this little empty mayonnaise jar, whatever jar, right? That if the glue leaks out, it's not a big deal, so don't use a basket. And then put a nice even coat. All right, so it's nice to have enough where when you press down, it fills in. And hopefully, if you do it right, it goes out enough to the edge where it's not sloppy, but it makes its own, like a caulking. Okay. Wipe our hands. And you want to press down, but you also want to press it in on itself, because all that pulling of the clay kind of stresses the clay out, and it wants to go back to its original, what's the word? It's not the, I don't know, its original state. All right. So as you're pulling it out of the mold and you're pulling your putty knife or whatever it is, your thumb, if you're just using your thumb to make it smooth on the back, whatever it is you're doing to it, it's giving a lot of push and pull on that clay. And so you want to kind of put it back into place, but you don't want to push so hard that you lose those details. So I like to take, like, these are little, these are like rubber brushes that I'm using to push down, but it's actually kind of also bringing some of the details back. I'm pushing where there's creases already. All right, if you have something like that. Now tomorrow, I will paint this. Well, like I said, I don't think I actually need to paint this. But I don't want to seal it really well yet. So I don't like to seal the same nights at the same point of gluing it, but I will paint it. Some people say it helps with the shrinking, so you don't get the cracks. So I'm pushing it in, pushing it down. Okay, trying to maybe there. Doing my best to make sure we've got good contact with all the parts. Now tomorrow, when I go to maybe seal it, where it lifts off the edge, okay, I can take the caulk, and I do like to use the DAP, oh, that's what I got to get, I always forget. The DAP Alex, it dries in like, one of them dries in 20 minutes, the other one dries in 40 minutes, that you can paint it. So, and you want to get it so it's paintable, whatever caulk you get. And if you're going to use it for outdoors, you want to be mindful of that. You want one that's good for outdoor use or weather resistant, whatever, you know. And that's that. I'll add the dog to the other side. And we have a done project. After it's sealed tomorrow, give it a few hours and I can wash that gray paint in there to pop out all those little details. And yeah, it's a fun deal right there. All right, thank you. I've been on super long, so I better go. And if you're so inclined, again, share with your friends, get them to subscribe, and we can get more out there. And follow us on all the other socials. We're all just /Seaporium. I love to do the TikTok. We have Facebook, Instagram, you name it. We got it all going on. And until I see you again, stay sassy. And if you're interested, shop seaporium.square.site. Thanks. Bye. Where's my finish? I don't see. Oh, here.